I may not be super lyrical, but I think I can cop enough rhymes and my poem makes highs and lows, and you can come to the understanding that Abigail Adams was no miracle. She came into this world in eastern Massachusetts where her grandfather on the daily made the news. It's all good and fun for Abby, but she wanted to read and do more and understand her plea. When she said she wanted to know the parlez-vous français, she learned it. When she was 17, she would meet the man who would become her life-changing experience. It made no difference because she knew she wanted an intellectual equal, a sequel to the story of Abigail Smith. Oh, she wished. And then came the third cousin, John Adams, a nice young lawyer with charm for Abigail, madam. Abigail, Nabby, and John Quincy came rather quickly as they lived in Braintree. Abigail worked the family's finances with no guarantee of John returning from his work, and so she wrote. She corresponded with John, became his married devotee. They moved the family to Boston and were tossed into the group of folks with Sam Adams and John Hancock, a group straight out of history. Bang, bang, boom. Several American citizens are dead. Thanks, Boston Massacre. John wants trials for the British, kind of tainted his image. But good old Abby supported her man, and wow, now he's at the Continental Congress. Who would have guessed it? Constantly she updated John, took John Quincy away to watch the Battle of Bunker Hill. She was too progressive for the men of her time. While they were sipping wine, she wrote letters for the liberation of slaves and women, a trendsetter. Took care of the house for 9 years as John did diplomacy things in Paris. Prepare us, her children cried, and so she did. She entertained diplomats in Europe for 4 years. She returned home with rheumatism, and would you look at that, John is vice president. And she wrote, and she wrote, and she wrote, and she wrote, and wow, John is now president. Mrs. President, we lament your influence over your husband. She toughened, but so did Jefferson and Madison. As John prevented a war and inflamed one within the country, Abigail helped through it all. When John took the fall, she was sick, sick, sick of public life. A full 5'1", a brown-eyed, brown-haired wonder looked right at Alexander Hamilton and said she looked into the eyes of the devil himself. Sorry, Hamilton. And such was the life of our lovely Abby, a proponent for all women and slaves to be created equal.